Hi, I'm Jessica Cardelucci. Thank you everyone for joining. I'm a fine art photographer, and this is my piece, Light and Darkness, that I submitted to this exhibition and fundraiser. It is a photograph, and it's actually a handmade platinum palladium print. And this is a print of my husband and I on our anniversary, actually, and it was when that comet NEOWISE appeared, and it really was a glimmer of hope for me during the pandemic because it was a really hard time for me. And to start with that, I had my son the previous fall, 2019, and that was a lot going through the journey of motherhood and how that was going to affect my work and moving forward. And he was maybe 4 months old when the shutdown first started and kind of trying to process what was happening. And if we can move on to the next slide. I was actually working on this series of the wild Mustangs that I had photographed the year prior and a couple of years as well. I'd gone out a few times to see them and photograph them. And these images I had really wanted to print in the platinum process. I wanted something very intimate and hand done with these. And the platinum prints that I've done, the 8x10s, are one of a kind. So I had already shot the images and was working on kind of figuring out the process, working in the darkroom again. Actually, the platinum and palladium is mixed by hand. So I mix it and paint it. So on the first image, which we'll go back to, actually, I can show you another here. It's mixed by hand. It's hand painted onto the paper. This is another image, Mustangs in the Valley. So I was already working on kind of, you know, um, perfecting the process, sorry, of platinum and palladium. And so that was something I was able to focus on kind of on the first part of the shutdown was, okay, I'll continue working on the printing and releasing this body of images. And then I was really inspired and I wanted to continue and go out and shoot. And if we can go on to the next slide. This is an image of Tamales Bay. So previously I volunteered at Point Reyes National Seashore at their Morgan horse ranch. And I used to go up once a week and I would help work with the horses at the ranch. And after I would go photograph the seashore. So one thing that really inspires me is exploring the landscapes, especially here in California. I did grow up in Southern California and then was living up in the Bay Area for the last 3 to 4 years. I'm currently down back in Southern California, but I love to explore and learn about the landscape. And Point Reyes is such a place that was so inspiring to me. And other places of California, I want to continue to document. So after the shutdown, the first thing I wanted to do was run out to the coast, but then everything was closed down. You couldn't go to the beach. Then I thought, if I can't actually go to the beach because everything's closed, maybe I'll drive. And then even the turnouts were closed off and they were ticketing people thousands of dollars if you were there and you weren't supposed to be. And it was really hard for me to process. Like, not only am I a new mom trying to figure out how am I going to, continue my photography with this new job and new role that I have in my life, which I'm very happy about, and also processing this situation that none of us are used to experiencing. What do we do? And then I couldn't even go out and photograph my favorite things. So I had a hard time because I love to be outdoors and explore, and I felt like even that was so limited. So if we can go back to the first slide, my print in the exhibition. So when I heard that this rare comet was going to be appearing, I photograph with sunlight. I love natural light, daylight. I even print these platinum palladium prints with the sun. You could do them in with incandescent lights, and then once you expose them to the sun is when the image appears. So I love that I get to be outdoors during this process. So I did think it was kind of funny that when this comet appeared, I all of a sudden was very inspired. Like, this was actually something I could photograph and use and create a moment to capture from inside our house. So it was very different from the work I was used to photographing. And I definitely don't do self-portraits. Very rarely have people in my images. And I was really just inspired on our anniversary. I was like, this is such a special thing. Like, we get to see this comet, and it was barely visible from the Bay Area. This was in our house in the Los Gatos area, but I convinced my husband, like, let's just go sit on the roof after our son goes to sleep and try to see if we can see this comet. And we actually could. And it was a very beautiful sight. I was so very thankful that we could see it. And then I put my camera on a tripod in our room, and I wanted to shoot it looking outside. So really showing our quarantine, stuck inside. I couldn't go anywhere. I kind of almost had to wait for something to come to me to give me that hope, because I've been trying so hard to get out. And this was finally why I titled this print Light and Darkness. It was kind of that first moment during quarantine that something had really inspired me when I felt so, sheltered in place, stuck in, couldn't get out. And I wanted to kind of show that looking out through our bedroom door. And the comet it is faint in the print, but it was also very faint with some of the light pollution in the Bay Area. But I still love that image, and it's, a gift for us to forever treasure. But I also feel like it really represented my experience with quarantine and how it really, kind of crushed me in the beginning, but also pushed me to kind of think differently. And I also love that this was photographed at night, because that's so different and it's so dark. Most of my work is photographed during the daylight with natural light. And it just really contrasted a lot of my work, and I think pushed me in new directions. And I think moving forward, I am excited to try and put a more personal touch on some of my work. And it really taught me to look further inside moving forward with a lot of my work. So um, thank you for having me. I'm very excited.